I know you know Genesis 1:1, but you'll be shocked that that verse does not answer every problem. Abi, you have a need in the house. And I say, Genesis 1:1. In the beginning, God created heaven and earth. So God create food now. Can walk. You will need to know what God has said about everything in your life. It means you need a bank. A bank. Take your life a little bit more seriously. Take your life. Your certificates can get you a job. You will need a spirit to keep the job. Pastor Dela, it's becoming a world of spirits. It's becoming a world of spirits. How many of you have been following the election progressions in America? It is spiritual movement by excellence. Let me say something. Off my microphone. Started. Yes, the countdown has started. And in the church, we may just be singing, dancing, and doing our things, but on the global political landscape, there are movements. It's like a chessboard, and everybody is. It's a perfect program. So you must find your handle on the spirit realm, and what I'm advertising to you tonight is faith, and it must begin from you having embraced the communication of the spirit with whom you have to do, which does not first start with God speak to me. Is that you read what he has said. Are you with me? Okay, so let me just round up my writings here. So God's question that got us this far was, who told you? And I wrote here that nakedness should have attracted a question like, why did you remove your clothes? There was no communication in scriptures that helped us arrive at a point that Adam understood being clothed or unclothed, because there was no reference to clothes. It was as though what covered him was one with him. And so this was a new concept that he became aware of. This concept was unlocked in an instruction. Okay, am I in chapter 2 already? Okay, what verse am I now? Yes. So he took the man, God took the man and put him in the Garden of Eden to dress it and to keep it. One thing I quickly need to unlock before Sunday is I want to do a further study on the word keep. Did I? Yes. The word keep it's a Hebrew word natsar. That other word for issues is totsa here. The Hebrew word natsar, it means to preserve it. I have given you something, maintain it. So it was a maintenance officer. Are you with me? The instruction to keep it was also to secure its boundaries. But you find out that God did not even go as far of telling him what the threat looked like. Are you with me? He was not going to be interested in that discussion that, oh, a serpent is going to. No, because the believer is designed to operate with guided communications. I was somewhere last week or 2 weeks ago and we're discussing something, and so I said, oh, this is what I think. And one of my brothers now said something like, you know, when we want to define things, we should put in mind the world's perspective of that thing so that we can arrive at a balance. And I said to him, I said, if we were discussing on the road, I would have agreed with you. You mean that a Christian is supposed to incorporate how the world thinks into arriving at answers? No! Be not conformed to this world. The relevance of the church does not lie in thinking as the world. And I want to say that there are things I have in my notes that God has said to me that I don't even want to talk about, because I'll be fighting every day. One of it, I think I've said it before, is that the relevance of the church is not built. The church needs money, but the relevance of the church is not built into how much money she has, because our advantage is not financial. The church needs a lot of people, but watch this, the advantage of the church of Jesus Christ is not built into how many people. So if they are many and all our labor is to just be many so that we can use numbers to match them, remember that in scriptures it was that those that be with us are more than those that be with them, because the battle is not about human numbers, it's about backup systems in the spirit. And the last time I checked, well, there are contentions around it, but based on the popular discussions in church circles, it's 1/3 that came. You understand what I'm saying? The tail of the dragon swept only 1/3 stars. It means there are 2/3 still standing. So to every one of them, there are 2 here. Are you with me? There were only 2 men, Elisha and his servant, and then a whole army did not come to fight a nation. They came to arrest one prophet, because the advantage of the prophet was not numbers, was not in spies. The prophet was actually minding his business, was in his own house. His advantage was that he had a gift that was resident upon him, and the satellite of the gift was dropped in the room of the other king. So even if he whispers, they will hear him. So they didn't come to fight. They said there's someone, even the things you say in your bedchamber I can hear. So tomorrow they may fight, but today let's first take off the intelligence system. And when they approached to show you the confidence of this prophet, he didn't kill them, because if I can make you blind, I can kill you. He took their sight and led them to the house of his own king and told the king, don't kill them. You didn't win them in battle. Give them food and send them back to their master, not lead them back to their master. It meant that while they were eating or around that eating time, what happened to them? Their eyes were open. Why didn't they fight? If someone blinds you and sits you down to eat, That was the stature with which the church was demonstrated in scriptures. If you imprisoned one of them in the Acts of the Apostles, their realities did not die, because Paul was as a prisoner on a voyage, and even there he still had dominion to regulate the fate of everyone in the ship. Say there are side boats, so escape boats. If you escape, you are gone. If you stay on the ship, you survive. So they came down and they were beside the fire, and a serpent came and struck his hand, put his venom in his hand, and they now said, he's a murderer, he's a murderer. And then when they saw that it did not swell, then they began to say among themselves, he must be a god. The advantage of the church has never been built into numbers. The advantage of the church will never be how much money the church has. The advantage of the church will never be in media presence. Yes, nations can be manipulated from a secret altar, and that's what Jesus wants to raise. We are the ones waiting, keeping him back there, because the Bible says that the heavens must withhold him until the full restitution of all things. Earth has not seen in modern times what the prayer of the righteous man can do. That's why God is bent on making you righteous than making you prayerful. Because you will sit in the corner of your house and there's a weight of incense that you begin to build that will manipulate the whole territory. We have seen powers of darkness do it. Remember when we went for the Loring prayer meeting? What do we call it? Prayer convergence. What we saw was that sorcerers has entered the city. They had found the house and they were going to cause an arrest. People didn't believe us. Was there an arrest? There was. It was just minimal. But some churches paid for their non-belief with broken windows. We paid for the meeting, moved equipment from here. I remember, paid for even the church we used. We paid to go and pray in the Lord, and I don't have a problem with paying for a church. But I'm saying, many ministers were contacted saying they don't have time, but their windows were broken with stones, with sticks, to show that some people bled because they macheted some people, to show that when an alarm is sounded, you don't say no. If men in darkness can manipulate cities, you think Nigeria is running on an economic plan? Faith in God. So my time is about up, but my emphasis is that there was a problem that happened from the Garden of Eden, and the problem was that, let me finish my reading, please. Pardon me. Okay, next verse, 16. I need to get to 17, then we'll close. And the Lord commanded the man, saying, of every tree of the garden thou mayest freely eat. Somebody say every tree. But of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil thou shalt not eat of it, for in the day that thou eatest thereof thou shalt surely, with all confirmation, what will happen to you is that you will die. And I've said to us that death here was that you'll be separated from me and from my economy. The distributions of God that make for the advantage of life will dry up when you eat of the fruit of this tree. Meanwhile, there were two trees that were advertised almost at equal ranking in the midst of the other trees, because the Bible said that there were two trees in the midst of the garden, and one of the trees was called the tree of life, the other one was called the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. None of these trees imparts fully by mental knowledge. Both of these trees find their full impact in creating experiences. Are you with me? None of them fully imparts by mental knowledge. Both trees traffic communications. So it was the wisdom of that tree that established them as naked, because the tree has a communicating facility. Just like when you come into life, there are instructions that life gives you. The life summons to pray. So the experience of prayer is by communication of the life. The life sometimes summons you to give. The life summons you directionally. Are you with me? In the same way, the other tree too summons men so that experiences can be created. The summonings or the communications that are summons from this life, which was the tree of life, and if you get into the Revelations, you find out that the tree of life is not just a tree, it's a person. Because it was one of the rewards of the 7 churches, I will grant to eat of the tree of life, which is in the garden of God. All of the rewards in Revelations are immortal depictions of the Christ. So you have eaten of the tree of life, and you ate the day you said, "You are my Lord and Savior." Adam bit into the wrong tree, and like faith was quickened inside you, and anti-faith was quickened inside him. That's what causes doubts. Because the realities that this other tree are supposed to create are realities that are contrary to what God has for you. They open your eyes to more possibilities than is allowable in your life. Unfortunately, as I close, all of us started feeding off that tree or the realities of that tree when we became born again. Now that we are born again, there is a possibility to sustain feeding of that tree, not understanding that now there is a new set of communications that are supposed to undergird our existence. I used to share with people that if you watch some Nollywood films, once your husband comes late from work, what does the wife say? He's sleeping with his secretary, especially with secretary is a lady. Have you found out that there are ladies who are church ladies who marry, and even if their husband had a flat tire and did not get good help, when it comes, their silence is because they think he's sleeping with his secretary. You don't know it happens. What is Nollywood? What sector would you put Nollywood? Entertainment, right? No, it's education. I'm making you aware. Movies are not essentially entertainment. That time has passed when they didn't mean anything, when movies could only excite people. That was entertainment. Movies are in the education mountain now. The world is trying to make you know what it wants you to know, to feed off a wrong tree so that your possibilities are widened. You believe that a husband is godly. If he came late before Adam ate from the tree, the suggestion that he's sleeping with his secretary will never enter your heart. What I've become aware of in the last 2 days is the damage of Adam's error. Massive. That even though redemption has cured it, a man must by diligence lay hold of God. If not, you will be a partial victim of Adam. You will sing Jesus, but you will still think Adam.
Yes, sir.
Because if you didn't have money before the fall, you are not supposed to think broke. You are not supposed, the absence of money was not supposed to produce a suggestion that you could not that you will not have food to eat, or that you will not be able to do what God has called you to do. Anything God gives you will have been enough. Are you with me? There will have been no hustler. The need to steal what belongs to another person will never have entered your mind, because you understand in your season progressions. Competing with somebody else on the ground that God was better to them and not too good to you will not have entered your mind. 90% of what the average person thinks is stewarded by that strange tree. I've heard people say, oh, the people of the world can also advise you. All the wisdom is not in church. You see, because we have gone that way, sometimes we have meetings in church and we bring a technocrat that doesn't know Jesus. He will teach us what we need to know, but if you don't have life, what he will give is death. That's why we are not making pastors out of all of you. We want you to get to the highest points of your career, so that when you are bringing wisdom that can be used in the marketplace, it is backed up by life. I have seen my biological father give medical lectures and men are convicted, because ultimately beyond the wisdom, what every man deposits is the kind of life that he has touched. Lord, cure me of Adam. I cannot be disinvolved with kingdom and still have a messed up mind. No. How can Jesus do this much for me, and I still feel that because my head aches, something bad is going to happen? He didn't say that your head will not ache. What scares us is not the ache, it's the outcome. He didn't say you have money every day, or you have so much every day. But what he told us, that will not lack. The testimony of Paul concerning God's provision is, my God shall supply all your need. It means if there's a need, there is a supply. Sometimes when there is no supply, that's how we were supposed to think. It means that there is no need. Can you ask that tonight a work is established that creates renewal of the mind? It was to Christians that Paul suggested, be not conformed to this world. If you will have faith, you will need to think right. If you have faith, you need to speak right.